Welcome back to Pecan and Ginger. You like that little ring-a-ding?
She has that in-flight of tone every time. But no, in today's video, as you guys can see, if you guys know us, you know us. But if you haven't seen us before, obviously, we are an interracial couple.
Woo!
Married. Not that that's a big deal or anything, but a lot of people that are thinking about doing it or are currently in an interracial relationship in an interracial relationship
Get it together.
are worried about meeting the parents. I think that's a big thing. Friends and parents is like the biggest question that we get asked or comments that we get.
Yes, in person and also online. You'll be surprised how many people are like, what did your parents say? How did your friends react to, you guys being together?
Yeah, so we wanted to talk about that today.
Yeah.
We wanted to talk about preparing for the parents, the pressure of the first meeting, and the post-meeting perspectives, what we learned from meeting each other's parents. Now, from what she tells me, I was the first white man that she brought home to her father and mother.
I brought a few men home. Yeah. Not in a bad way. I was dating before I knew Dylan, so yes.
Unacceptable.
But yes, he was the first white guy that I brought into my house. The rest of them were black, obviously. And I was definitely not nervous. I really was not nervous. My background is pretty mixed and we accept everybody. So I wasn't nervous for him to meet my dad or my mom or anything like that, or my siblings. We come from like a pretty diverse background, and introducing him into my household was like nothing to me. If anything, I was just nervous because my dad's pretty big and pretty buff, that Dylan was gonna feel a little intimidated.
Her dad is huge, massive human being.
He's like a teddy though. Yeah, maybe all baby girls say that, right? Like he's big, but he's a teddy, right? Like
for now. If I messed up, I don't want to see the teddy bear turn into a grizzly bear. I think a lot of bringing someone back to your parents, regardless of race, just comes down to who the person is.
100%.
Right? Like, there was girls that when I brought home to my mom, I was like, I hope my mom approves, right? That's always the biggest thing you care about is to
for boys
seek your mother's approval. I mean, same for you. Your dad's approval.
But for girls, it's usually your dad's approval, because your mom will swing with the punches for the most part. But if dad said like, I don't see him for you, or I don't really like him,
that holds a lot of weight.
I would have been like, oh, like something's wrong with him. Like if my dad was bluntly honest like that, I trust him enough that I would be like, I think I'm like not going to date this guy. That's how heavy it is. And I'm pretty sure the same thing for your mom. If your mom was like, oh, I don't really like Mina, you would be like, really?
You better learn to like her.
Well, that's nice.
See, that wasn't like, I'm not going to change my life based on my parents' decisions. I love them.
Right.
I respect them. They birthed me and raised me to be the man I am today. But at the end of the day, I'm going to do what makes me the most happy. I think a lot of people should do that.
If my parents said they didn't like Dylan, I would have tossed his tail to the side.
That's what she says now.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know.
Actions speak louder than words.
No, we're here married.
Yeah. But, I mean, from my perspective, Mina was not the first African-American woman I brought home. She was the second, and way better than the first.
And the last.
Yeah, so it wasn't so much shock. I think I had more shock the first time doing it. I was like, not that I cared. It was just, I cared more for your sake than my sake.
Right.
Like, I wasn't like, act right.
Yeah.
Like tone yourself down for my parents. Like, it was more for like I hope that she's comfortable.
Right.
Versus me feeling good about the situation. I think it's the same for you. Like, you wanted me to be comfortable around your parents.
If anything, I was telling my parents to tone it down more so than Dylan. And I wanted him to feel comfortable around my parents. I didn't want him to feel awkward or he couldn't be himself or say what he wanted to say. I wanted him to be strong-headed and confident in knowing that I loved him enough to introduce him to my parents.
Yeah. And I met I mean, I'm a salesperson. I'm like I'm good with meeting strangers. I'm good at connecting with strangers. And
he's like, I'm gonna kill it.
I got I got confidence in myself.
Yeah.
That I can, present myself in a good way, and there's not gonna be any awkwardness.
And that made me feel good, right? Because I would hate to have to be attached to his hip because he because he wasn't confident enough of being independent, speaking to my parents without me kind of being directly right there monitoring everything. So that actually made me feel
There's
really
nothing worse
good.
than that. Personally, I think we have the same thing. We
Yeah.
talked about this before, but my favorite thing about Mina is when we're in a social setting, like she can go and do her thing and congregate and communicate,
Yes.
and I can go do my thing and conversate and communicate.
Yes.
And then we're good. We just match up, or we say hi, or we didn't even say hi to each other. We're at the wedding, and I was like, "Where is she?" And I was like, "Yeah, she's all right." And she was just talking at a table with somebody as strangers. There's nothing worse than having somebody you got to babysit.
Yes.
Like, are you okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all I'm gonna say about that. But I've had women in the past where I was not confident, or they weren't confident themselves to be able to go out and communicate with other people. All that to say,
yeah,
I was pretty confident in my abilities, and I was confident in her abilities to do that. But she gave me the litmus test. She had me meet her mom pretty early on in our relationship.
My mom came to New York City.
I meet my mom, and I was like, oh, I didn't know you liked me that much.
So, first of all, y'all, my mom was coming to visit me in college anyway. I just happened to also be dating Dylan. So my mom didn't travel from Jersey to New York just to meet Dylan. It just happened. Just let's get it clear. It just happened that I was dating Dylan and my mom was coming to see me while I was in college in New York City. And I decided to invite Dylan to a rooftop to meet my mom first. Now, I'm very, very close with my mom. So getting her stamp of approval for me carried a lot of weight. And I was just also excited because I was dating someone new and I was in the city and my mom was coming into town. And yeah, I wanted Dylan to meet and I wanted them to vibe.
I was nervous as heck.
You did say that you were nervous.
I got to it was a rooftop, right? But I got to the ground floor bar early. And I remember I had like 2 drinks to just take the edge off. And so I got there early. Obviously, you can't be late to meet the mom. Like, I was there. I want to greet both of them.
Yeah.
But I was sitting, I think I was too early where I was overthinking it. I was sitting there and I was like, what's her mom? I don't even know what she looked like. I've never seen a photo. Yeah. Looked just like Mina.
A lighter complexion of me, yeah.
Same face, yeah. Same facial structure, same cheekbones.
Oh, she would love to hear that.
Yeah. But I was nervous, and then obviously I met her, gave her a hug, and then obviously the nerves are gone. You always make things
also
bigger.
Dylan ordered a full meal and ate it right in front of us. I think he ordered like
I'm
a burger.
I'm not gonna change who I am.
Yeah.
I was hungry.
He ordered like a full meal.
I ordered food for you guys. I was like, what do you want? And you're like, we'll just have some appetizers. I was like, I don't think that's gonna hold me over. This is my dinner.
Yes.
Yeah. So.
And it was
great.
great.
Don't change who you are.
Yeah.
Don't pretend to be somebody when you meet the parents because you're just gonna force yourself to pretend
all the time.
All the time. You might as well just be yourself.
Yes.
Don't be yourself.
Right.
Like, don't be overly comfortable.
Yeah.
Be respectful, but still be who you are at your core.
Right.
Like, I wasn't gonna not eat in front of somebody.
See, a female, we probably wouldn't have ate. At least not a burger. And that's not us not being ourselves. It's just a burger is just a very, you pick it. It's like can I get the baby back ribs with extra barbecue sauce on the side? You know what I mean?
That's something that you would order.
I would do it now in front of his in-laws, but not in the very beginning when I was first meeting them.
All right, so that was me prepping for your parents. How'd you prep for mine?
How did I prep for your parents? So I met Dylan's parents.
Do you change you started talking like different,
right? No, guys, shut up.
Well, hi.
No, I was honestly myself, and I was also pretty good with speaking with people, strangers in particular. So I felt really good. I knew that I was meeting his mom. his dad, and then his sister. And we met in Hoboken, New Jersey at a little restaurant that we always kind of go to. So we were very much familiar where we were taking them. And I was definitely a little nervous, but I also felt just confident in who I was and what, like me and Dylan's relationship. Me and Dylan, before we even met the parents, was rocking with each other for a good minute. So yeah, I felt fine. I don't think I know that I was nervous, but I wasn't nervous to the point where I could actually remember.
Or actually, one thing that just popped in my head, I think a lot of people complain to their parents about people.
Don't do
Don't do
that.
that. Don't do
Don't
that.
do that.
Because then your parents are
Yeah.
going to have this preconceived notion and assumption about who that person
Yes.
is. And
Yes.
God forbid you share too much.
I have done that in the past, y'all, and my mom
they're
forbidden
judging.
me
They're
to ever
judging.
see a boy that I really wanted to see again. I would never, and
Yeah, keep
honestly,
your business your business.
in the beginning, if you're overly sharing problems in the very beginning, that's kind of a red flag in a way. You should be having fun, you should be learning each other, going on new adventures, building emotional and physical connection. There really shouldn't be too much of a strain enough that you have to communicate back to your parents the issues you guys are having and you're only 2 months in. So just keep that in mind. We didn't even
But
have
whatever
any
you share with
problems.
mom is remembered.
Girls, don't do it. Don't share it with your girlfriends and don't share it with your mom. Keep it to yourself. Keep your relationship, yes, just you two, because that's so true. Because if we were going through something and Dylan was chatty Cathy with his mom, she probably would have looked at me in a different light without me even knowing.
Yeah.
And that would have given me a disadvantage. So.
For sure. All right, I cut you off.
Yeah, no, that was it. That's how I prepped. I was just confident in myself. I was gonna say I was confident in what I brought to the table, but I didn't bring anything to the table truly like that to say that I was, you know what I mean? Like, let's keep it real. Like, I was in college at that time. I brought myself and my ambition of being in school and knowing what I wanted to do to the table, and then also just
we got pictures. We'll probably put them on the screen.
Yeah, I think we do have a picture of in Hoboken. But yeah, I really didn't have any nerves. I felt good.
My parents like me more than me, so it's cool.
Now they do.
Yeah.
I know for a fact when they're like, who is this girl that, and I know his mom was like, who is this girl who has taken my son? I know for a fact. So yeah, it takes and don't also feel like people are people. It takes like a second for people to warm up to you, to like you. It's really, really hard to show people who you are truly at your core just from meeting someone over drinks or over dinner, right? Like it takes time. Put your best foot forward, of course, and always show up to be presentable and respectable. And that's honestly all you can do to prep.
Yeah. So I met her mom first. And then there was like a pretty decent time difference between meeting the rest of her family, her dad and brothers. She's got 3 brothers. Ooh, J-Mo. Hi, buddy. So I met her dad and brothers along the way.
Yes.
Yeah. But the first time I met her dad, because as a man, meeting the dad is the big thing, right? The mom is the easy part. For the guy, like yours probably my dad was the easy part, my mom was the hard part, right?
Yes,
because it's always meeting the same sex. So when I first met her dad, I was like, all right, and I saw pictures of him, and he's a big guy. He's what, 6'5", 250.
You guys,
muscle.
He's like 6'3", 6'4".
His bicep is the size of a watermelon. Good for him though, in his old age, and he's.
Yeah, he's just in shape.
He's got it.
Yes.
Anywho,
we have good genetics.
Genes, yeah. So anyway, so the first time I was meeting her brother and her dad, we were going to a college football. Oh, you gotta be in the cut, buddy.
You guys see him? There he is.
Anyway, so we were going on a 2-hour drive.
Yes. On the coldest day of the year, but
yeah. So, all right, Jamo, you better mute the microphone, buddy. So, not only was I meeting her dad and brother for the first time, but we were also going to be in a car without direct eye contact and like some like normal social cues to your advantage that you didn't have, right? You're in a car, it's a long drive. Like if something was awkward, there's no moving around or doing nothing.
Yeah.
So when I met him, big old dap up bear hug, and I was like, whoa. Okay. And he was, as men, you size each other up.
Yeah, okay.
You know, like you can't have no wimp handshake, or being white and her dad being black, right? You can't be like, well, put it there, sir. Like you have to be able to understand how to dap up a guy.
Yeah.
And
have a little culture, have a little swag,
have
y'all.
A little culture, have a little swag.
Yeah.
There's nothing worse, like if you went for like, oh, imagine if I was like I went for like a fist bump with your dad and he was going in for the dap up. Be like, all right, I don't like this guy. Like immediate. Like immediate. You only have one first impression.
Yeah.
But anyway, things went well, obviously, because I could talk football. We were going to play football, and I can hold a conversation with that. And that's really the way to your dad's heart, is through sports, and treating his daughter right. But
yes,
yeah, definitely. It's always, you make it worse than it is.
Right.
You always like build it up and have these assumptions in your head, and like, I feel like the big thing I wanted to get across in this video, at least from my perspective, is like it's really not that deep. And
for us, I know that there's
Let me finish. So it's not that deep at the end of the day, because you got to live the life that you want to live with or without your parents' approval.
Right.
Yes, be respectful of your parents, and yes, portray yourself in the most positive light. But if you found your person, regardless of what they look like on the exterior, you know what they are on the interior. And that's really what makes you happy for the long term versus the outside. So if your parents can't see that, it's because they don't know that person the way that you do.
Right.
Right? Like my parents know Mina through what I say and their inner experiences with her. But you've really seen my parents like what, 5 to 7 times all time?
Wait,
like 10 times,
more
maybe
than
15 times?
Yeah.
But I'm saying in comparison of 7 years of us together, I know her way more than my parents could ever.
Right.
So their judgment is different.
For sure. For sure.
So don't allow your parents to dictate your life and who you decide to be with.
No, that is true.
Because if you constantly live a life of external validation, you're never going to be happy.
I agree.
So whatever they look like, whether color their skin, religious background, belief system, if that's your person, go for it. And don't let your parents drive your life, because that's their life, not yours.
Yeah, Bob.
That's all I wanted to say. Yeah. Maybe you guys don't watch the end of the video. I just wanted to drop that in there.
I was gonna say, you can't really argue with that, right? Like, no, date who makes you happy, right? And do not try to seek validation from others, your parents, your friends, your peers. That is, yes, if you're seeking validation from other people, then you'll never truly be happy. And yeah, I
God
think
just put you in my life.
Yes, and I think me and Dylan are very blessed in the fact that both of our parents were super, acceptable of our relationship and super receptive to it. And that through seeing each other more, getting comfortable with each other, that it has become easier and easier and easier for us. So I always love seeing Dylan's parents because I get more comfortable with them. They're more comfortable with me.
We see them in like 3 weeks.
Yes, we're seeing them in 3 weeks. And they also get to see me and the love that I have for Dylan. And I know the last time that I seen Dylan's parents, his dad reassured me privately of, just really kind things here and there. And that just really makes my heart feel, amazing, because I am their second daughter, and Dylan is, my parents' fourth son, right? Like it is a big deal, and I don't want to downplay it, but also you have to live a life for yourself and not other people, especially your parents. And yeah, so far and when I met Dylan's parents, his dad I'm a hugger. And I do remember like
my dad is a hugger.
Hugging his dad, and his mom was kind of like, do I hug you? We had that weird little awkward like hug, shake. I don't know. But then I was like, I want to give you a hug because like, your son's the love of my life, and like I also want to embrace you as well. So, there'll be little awkward things here and there trying to get comfortable with the other person, but I think being authentically yourself is enough. So,
Yeah, absolutely. And I think to the point, like show the parents
mhm.
like through actions.
Yes.
Like your parents can see if you're happy. Your parents can see if you're like in a good place or like
Right.
it's authentic or not. They're your parents. They know
Yeah.
you
To
better
your
than
core.
yeah. So
Yes.
I think that parents truly want what's best for you, or they should. I hope they do.
Right.
Obviously, don't I can't speak of experiences that I haven't experienced, but I think that parents want the best for their
Kids.
children.
Mhm.
And if you show them that this person is the person that's the best for them, I think a lot of them can put aside prejudices or kind
Right.
of comments for the betterment of their child. At
Right.
least you hope so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
Also, last thing I would say is bring them around more. The more you're around someone, the more
Yeah.
comfortable you would be.
Yeah.
Right? Try not to avoid bringing someone around. Like Thanksgiving is coming up. Bring a dish to the Thanksgiving. If they're in-laws or someone's cooking, bring a dish, right? Offer something, especially as a female. You don't want to sit up in no one's house thinking that you're cute. We came empty-handed. Hey, I'm here with your son. Like, no, like bring a dish, bring flowers, bring a
So
gift.
funny story. I had to just that reminded me of something. So I had a girlfriend way back in the day. Way back in the day. Like I was in high school still.
Mm.
And she came over to my house and she was cooking, I think it was like hot dogs or something. She brought hot
Told me
dogs
this
and
story.
buns to my house, my parents' house. And she grilled them her own and only made hot dogs for her and myself, not including my sister, my dad, my
Were they
mom.
home?
They were home, yeah, on my dad's grill. And my mom was like, "Can I have one?" She goes, "No, well, these are really for me and Dylan." And my mom was like, "Yeah, you're never coming back in this house again."
I would you guys, that's so
And
cringy.
after she left, my mom was like, "Yeah, that's not the one." And I was like, "What do you mean?" She goes, "She didn't cook for us. Like, she wasn't willing to."
Be thoughtful.
Yeah, yeah, and do those
Like
things.
the small thing. See,
I
moms
I knew
pick
it
up.
too. I knew it too, though. I was like, I
Okay.
was like, I was like, really? Like, just cook my mom one. Like,
Right.
what are you doing? Obviously, I'm not with her. Thank the Lord.
So I have one
But
before we
funny
wrap
things
it
like
up. I
that.
have one other crazy thing too. So I was dating this guy who I have a great relationship with my parents, super trustworthy of me until I showed them otherwise, which is a whole nother story. But I had this guy come over, and my mom allowed him to come over and sit in, our living room, family room where we had, television, couch, things like that. And we were sitting on the couch, and he had his arm kind of like this, like wrapped around me like this, and my
Feels weird.
mom came in the back room and said like, hi, how are you, right? Like introduced herself, said hi. I'm not sure, if I can't remember, this was forever ago. I'm not sure if she introduced herself or she said hi, how are you, like, and he never lifted his arm. So as my mom is talking, he has me coddled like this on the couch, and he never shows the respect of when she like actually came in, moved his arm and said, hi, Mrs. Tammy, like I'm doing well. How are you? Right? Like he kind of just like laid there with his hand. When he left, my mom was like, absolutely not. Like when I come into the room, right? Like show me the respect of removing your hand from my daughter and then properly speaking to me. And obviously we're not together, but that small little incident, and I thought to myself like you're kind of right. It's like the little things, right? And the little things with, hurt your, well, I think it was pretty crazy for that girl not to cook hot dogs. I would have been opening up the
I
packet
don't
and
even like hot
chefing it up.
dogs. I don't even like hot dogs.
But those little things of disapproval, or those little things of that your parents pick up that you may not pick up, it does go a long way
But
to
at
a
the same
certain
time, you gotta be
extent.
yourself. And if it's not the fit, it's not the fit. You can't
Yeah.
pretend to gain someone's approval through distrust or dishonesty.
Well, respect is big, right? Like, I would say as another tip is show respect. When you come into someone's house, when you meet somebody, show respect, open the door, bring a gift, no cussing or anything like that. Like, show respect. No, let that parent know that you've been raised right and that you got some common sense. So that's definitely a big thing. When we say be yourself, yes, be yourself, but also uphold like your character and gentleman-like or ladylike.
Yeah.
Do things like that. Those go a long way. And, you know, as our parents or baby boomers, whatever you want to call it, they see little things like that for sure. And I feel like once we have kids, I'm probably going to notice the same exact thing. Like, he didn't open up the door. He didn't say, yes, ma'am, yes, sir. Like, unless someone tells you they don't want to be called ma'am or sir or is too formal. But when you're first meeting someone,
I always say ma'am, sir.
yes. Unless someone says, you know what, don't call me that. I'd rather for you to call me this.
I was on the phone with my mom and I said, thank you. Like, yes, ma'am. And she said, why do you say yes, ma'am? When you start doing that? Yeah.
It's
but
a
anyway,
respect thing.
Yeah. Okay. So closing, prepping for the parents. I think just be yourself, have confidence in who you are and your affection that you show that other person.
Yep.
And it's probably going to be worse in your head than it is in person.
Always.
The pressure of the first meeting, just be yourself again, right? And just carry yourself in a positive way.
Don't show up empty-handed.
Don't show up empty-handed, physically or spiritually. And then the post-meeting perspective is, you know, you just kind of continue to build and nurture that relationship and continue to put your best foot forward and prepare each other and make sure that you're doing the things for each other, not for your parents or the approval and seeking the validation of others.
100%. Yes. No, I agree. I guess the last thing that we will finish off on.
Oh, thank you for 10,000 subscribers. All 10,000 of you.
Yes.
That's wild. 10,000?
That's amazing.
Unbelievable.
Thank
Did not
you.
ever think that was a thing.
No.
Or not in the timeline in which it happened.
100%. So we
truly appreciate you guys for being an interracial couple. There's the opportunity for a lot of hate.
Right.
And I haven't really seen any hate. If so, it's like so small and it's not even really that hateful.
Right.
Most of it is just overjoyed love and support, which is awesome. Even somebody today in church recognized us and said, keep doing what you're doing. So
yes,
I think we genuinely hope that the message and what we share and talk about is fruitful and valuable to you guys. Hopefully watching these videos gives you comfort, gives you the ability and the confidence to go out and live your life for yourself and to have a wonderful life and experience love and joy.
Right. Abundance.
Abundance. So you guys allow us to sit down and talk about these things and give us confidence out into the world. So we want to say thank you. We appreciate the love and support, and we're going to keep getting better at what we're doing. So leave us any comments, questions. We do, as you guys have probably seen, we do take comments and make videos about them. So if you have something that you want to ask about, don't be shy.
For sure. I guess we'll see you guys in the next video.
We'll see you guys in the next one.